Our very own senior eyewitness news reporter, Gia Nicolaides, who's flown down from Joburg to be with us today to talk to us about her new book, Reporting from the Frontline. It tells the story of Gia's work covering the Marikana massacre in 2012 and the subsequent public hearings, the aftermath thereof. And it's a book that really tells the untold story behind the headlines. Gia, after many years of chatting to you over the phone, how nice to meet you face to face and to have you with us in Cape Town.
It's about time, and I absolutely love it here. Thanks for having me. As a journalist, I cover many protests, so I expected protests to happen in the same sort of way. This was so different, and I was based in Marikana on and off for about 9 months.
You weren't the only female journalist there, and you speak at length in your book about 3 others in particular who went through this with you. Do you ever feel personally, directly in danger for your life?
I think several times. In the very beginning, there was a miner who I'd approached and introduced myself to, and he said something to me. I didn't understand his language, and another journalist came forward and translated and said, no, well, he told you to leave this area, and if you don't leave, you might be killed because they don't want you here or any other woman. And that was the first moment when I really felt that threat of danger.
You were literally an eyewitness to one of the darkest moments of our new democracy's history. What did you see and hear?
The police officers came up to us and they said, please, media, stand back. We are going in. We're moving into a tactical phase because we need to disperse these miners. We've tried negotiating with them to hand over their dangerous weapons. And remember, they were carrying spears and pungas and homemade guns and some stolen police firearms. And they said, we are going in. And I saw this water cannon going in and spraying this blue liquid onto the miners. And then stun grenades went off, tear gas. And at that moment, I started taking a few steps back because I noticed that coming down from the kopje with thousands of miners charging towards the police line. And of course, the police had set themselves up in 2 different lines. And then I saw the first police line going forward, and they were holding on to shotguns, and they started firing rubber bullets. But it was almost as if the miners were coming too quickly towards them because they started jumping into the nyalas. And the next minute, the next line went in, and those were the officers with the live ammunition. And it happened so quickly, it sounded like fireworks going off. It sounded like your popcorn in your pots at home on the stove. And it was just this loud sound, and I had my recorder with me and my microphone, and I dropped it and covered my ears with my hands. And I was behind a police nyala at that time. I crouched down. I was terrified. I wasn't sure where those bullets were going. And as I opened my eyes and I looked, I just saw bodies dropping, hitting that ground, blood everywhere. And it was just that moment where I realized people are being killed in front of me, and my life is also in danger to some point. So I was thinking in my head, I just want to get out of here. I want to get in my car and I want to drive out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. And then I thought, oh goodness, the news. I thought, well, I better interrupt the bulletin. It's already 4 o'clock. And I jumped into the bulletin, asked them just to quickly cross live to me. And I just started explaining what I had seen and what I had heard. And that was my first crossing. And from there on, I just continued crossing live to the radio station and other international radio stations. And it's almost as if I just switched into journalist mode. And perhaps that was my saving grace, just to be a journalist and not a woman out there in an open field who had just witnessed people being killed.
Gia, thank you very much
Thanks
for being
for having
with
me,
us.
Pippa, and thanks to everyone here.